September in western New Mexico, near the famed Gila. For my money, there are few places more beautiful, especially right now, coming on the heels of one of the wettest monsoon seasons in decades. I'm here to find and kill a bull elk with my bow, and in the process, experience firsthand the results of some great conservation work being done by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Well, I'm back to one of my favorite spots in all of elk kingdom, that being west central New Mexico. I haven't been in this unit for 3 years. This hunt here takes place in one of the fabled, what I'll call, glory lands of elk hunting. And most of you think of elk hunting, you think of dark timber, high mountains. Well, what you're gonna see here is rugged hills, canyons, deep cuts, but it's mostly grasslands. It's grasslands with a spattering of pinyon and juniper and other shrubs, and it's mostly spot and stock. There's very little calling, and even if you could call them here, they're gonna see you forever. So this is gonna be an elk hunt like something you've probably not seen in a long time. And often people look at me and say, why would you go hunt elk out there? And the reason is because no one else is hunting out there. There's plenty of elk, and it's public land. This spot that I'm at, I always hike right up to this tall knob, because from this knob, you can glass in every direction. Only have 1 day to scout and 5 days to hunt. The pressure is on. A lot of people ask, well, I'm a member of the Elk Foundation. Where do my dues, my membership, donations, where does all that go? Right here. This is a really dry, arid part. I mean, we're in New Mexico, so they have a wet season for about 3 months out of the year. The rest of the year, it's dry. So this big catchment here fills up a big tank that's buried in the ground. And there's a manifold down here that controls how much water gets brought to this tank down here. So, there's the tank that gets filled up. Right here is the control device, and right here is the water. So the wildlife comes in here and can water here year-round, regardless of how dry, how hot, whatever. And this is very important to keeping wildlife in these areas. There's plenty of habitat at certain times of the year, but without water, all this other habitat has no value. Every time I've ever hunted here, I've seen a lot of elk from right here. Today I saw 3 groups, but they were way, way over that way. Got me a little nervous because I only have 5 days. Today's my one scouting day and 5 days to hunt. I better get it dialed in. The good news is, if you hang out here long enough, your cameraman will spot a really big bull down there. I was over glassing that side and Brad's yelling at me, get over here. And I come and he's a huge 5-point, exactly what I'd love to shoot. I mean, he's got 22, 23-inch fourths on him, and then just these big dropping whale tails. He's all alone. He doesn't have any cows with him, which is a head scratcher. I've always wanted to shoot a really big 5-point. I don't know if I'll shoot one like that, but if I got to chase him for the next 5 days, that would be, that in itself, to chase a bull that you kind of would, I guess, have always thought about, that would be fun. That would be the best way you could spend those 5 days, whether you shoot him or not. After the scouting day, all I could think about is, uh-oh, this is not good. First morning, walking in, sun's coming up, it's kind of crisp. I'm thinking, all right, full moon, that's not that helpful, but hey, there'll be elk in here. Get my spotting scope set up, and I wasn't set up more than, I don't know, 10 minutes, and I look, and here comes a bull up the drainage, just like they always do in this area, all by himself. Oh, here, I got a bull on our hill, right here. See him out there, that white dot. aha, this is the guy I'm looking for. I want a single bull with not a bunch of cows, because when he beds, I'm gonna be able to spot and stalk him really good. I mostly just want him to bed over there. This area I've chosen to hunt is really open. It's not like you're gonna call a bull across, you know, a quarter-mile grassland with you standing out in the middle of it. That's not gonna work. He drops into that drainage. I think I might circle up here to the head of this canyon, cross over, come up, and go right over into that group of trees. See if I can cow call him into there. Those aren't strong either. It's right in that transition time. So. I'm gonna walk over, peek down in there, see if he's there, and if not, go look for some more elk. I have hunted elk enough to know better. But what did I do? I got excited. The adrenaline's rushing. I'm like, I'm gonna get over there. I gotta find him, gotta find him. And I get over there, and instead of waiting until 11 o'clock or noon when the winds are consistent in their direction where you'll have strong thermals coming uphill, I head over there about 9 o'clock where you got some of the cold air still coming downhill, some of the warming's trying to come uphill. Look down in there, and there he is. And the wind was kind of going down towards him, but I thought I was far enough away that it wouldn't bother him. All of a sudden I see his head doing this stuff, and you can see his antlers moving, and he's up on his feet, and he looks up. Hunters. Down the canyon he went. That's exactly the setup that I hope for when I do this stuff. I just needed the thermals to be coming up the canyon. I cannot believe he smelled me from that far away.
The Land and Water Conservation Fund has provided $247 million of hunting and fishing access in New Mexico. This public access helps drive $823 million of annual spending by hunters and anglers just in New Mexico. If not for the Land and Water Conservation Fund, access to the land you see us hunting today would be difficult, much more difficult. I'm in west central New Mexico on an archery elk hunt, and I'm still kicking myself from yesterday. Not seeing much on my scouting day, an opening morning encounter with a beautiful 6x6 bull caught me off guard. I got excited, I rushed the stock, and frankly, I just blew it, big time.
Anyone who thinks they can outsmart an elk's nose, not a chance.
Now, on this short 5-day hunt, I've got this all too familiar feeling that I probably screwed up my best chance of the hunt. Over the next 2 days, that sinking feeling would only get worse as I covered mile after mile of incredible terrain, but seeing little in the form of elk.
So on day 3, I'm walking back to the truck in the dark, and I'm just thinking to myself, this is not what you expected, Randy. You've put on so many miles in the first 3 days of hunting and in that 1 day of scouting. And so far you've had 1 encounter, and that wasn't anything good because you blew it before you really had your chance. Now what am I gonna do? Day 4, alarm goes off. I'm like, oh, I don't wanna do this. But I get up anyhow because I know this might be the day they start bugling. And I head out here to that big grassland mesa, get up to this big high knob where I glass from every day, and I'm sitting there probably in the first half hour. I look, and here comes a bull and 5 cows right up out of the canyon bottom.
The bull's in my spotting scope, and instantly, it's deja vu. This bull only has 1 antler, and I know I've seen him before. 3 years ago, near this same ridge on my nephew Cody's rifle hunt. On that trip, we had a run-in with a 1-beam bull we called Old 1-beam. At the time, I wasn't sure if the bull had a broken antler, or maybe he was injured and just didn't grow a beam on that side. But now I know. Old 1-beam only grows a single right side antler. And here, 3 years later, on these same ridges, it's me and him.
This might be my only chance of the hunt.
This is when the challenge of open country hunting really sinks in. These elk are less than a mile away, but to gain a favorable wind for the stock, I've got to hike about 3 miles. First north around 2 canyons, and then back south again. Finally, some 2 hours later, I'm on the right ridge. But is Old 1-beam still here?
Now I gotta go slow there, about 1,000 yards straight south of me. The wind's coming out of the south. So I gotta stay on this side of the ridge. My marker is, there's a fence that runs east and west, and then one that runs north and south. They're right in that corner, so I gotta somehow get over that fence without them hearing me.
It's amazing how these elk, in all this vast land, use the same areas year after year. As I begin the stalk on Old 1-beam, I pass by a very familiar rock ledge. The exact spot where I arrowed a bull at 2 yards just a few years ago.
I am a lucky guy.
But with Old 1-beam less than 400 yards away, there's no time for reminiscing. And with so many personal connections to this land and these elk, I start to think, just maybe, this time, it's meant to be.
So after walking, I don't know, probably 3 miles, it took me an hour and a half to get over there from my glassing spot. I climb over this little grazing allotment fence, and I'm like, all right, I know I'm within a couple 100 yards. If they are still there, now it's time to go in sneak mode. So take my bow sling off, get everything ready, knock an arrow, and just start going and creeping as slow as I can. And I'm glassing every bit, because the benefit of spot and stock of a bedded elk, a bedded bull anyhow, is his antler is usually, quite a ways above his head. So I'll take a couple steps and I'll just glass everything, and I'm just looking for the tip of an antler. Take a few more steps, look, a few more. Pretty soon I'm getting to the point where, gosh, I can see most everything down here where they should be bedded, and I don't see them. probably another 5 steps when my mind is like, oh, I blew it. All of a sudden I see this little glimmer of this white thing move like this. I'm like, and now all of a sudden you're like, you look and your hand shaking and you're like, this is why I hunt elk. This is why I archery hunt elk. This is why I spot and stalk archery elk. So I'm just going slower and slower, and the first time I range it, it's like 55 yards, sneak a little bit closer, 44 yards, sneak a little closer, 35 yards. So the last range I take is 30 yards, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this bull. He's in trouble. Finally, I look over, and one of the cows, she doesn't just stand up, she just bolts out of her bed and is running down the hill, and I'm like, all right, it's up. What? There's a part of me that says, Randy, you had the shot. When you came to that, you can still see in your sight ring, I can still see the pin right here, quartering straight at me, 28 yards away, just for that 1 second. But I don't regret not having shot. What I would have regretted is having shot, made a bad shot, having an arrow hit that shoulder joint or the sternum or all of this bone structure here, and have an elk running around out here with, 8 inches of arrow in it. That's not what I came here to do. He stood there and gave me a shot. I mean, he gave me a broadside for about a second, and then he turned and he gave me a quartering shot, which I wasn't gonna take the quartering shot, but all that. Peace, brother. Go grow another antler. That is why I'm a member of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. If that doesn't get you excited and fired up, the hardest thing to do when you're that close is to just focus and just think, all right, pick a spot. Because as quick as you stop thinking about that, you look down at your hand and your arrow is going like this in your rest, but that's just not even fair.
Though I still had a day to hunt, I'd accomplished what I'd come here to do. A face-to-face encounter with an old friend I call Old One Beam. A fitting end to a great hunt, culminating with the personal dilemma inherent to hunting. Shoot or don't shoot. A decision made easy due to my respect for the elk and the hunt, and for which I have no regrets.
Yeah, I didn't shoot him, I didn't punch a tag, but I got 99% of the way to what I wanted to accomplish. And I don't have to shoot an elk to necessarily say this hunt was a success. To get that close to an elk, to show you how you can spot and stalk these elk out in these grasslands where nobody else wants to hunt. I showed you that that can be done. And that in itself is probably the trophy of this hunt.